All right. The record button was hit. We are recording. JML here,
Charlie here.
off of his assignment, back. It's been a while. I forgot what you looked like.
A little bit.
We're bringing you Bash at the Beach 1996 as chosen by the fans.
Ooh.
This is pretty much Charlie never really watched WCW. Am I stepping out of bounds when I say that?
Nah. Always
So
been a
this
good
is a
movie.
good little run we're going to be on with WCW shows. Um, this wasn't my pick, but we'll go with the fans' vote. Bash at the Beach, 1996, and because there was such a large gap in recording, I had to go back and watch the show again. So I got a double dose of this show. Um, this is a monumental show, so it's not so much about the wrestling aspect of the show. It's about the storyline, and the storyline leading into Bash at the Beach. Who's the third man? Who is joining the Outsiders as the third man for the tag team match?
Yep.
The dirt sheets, uh, they had no clue. At one point, Meltzer said it was Mabel. Could you imagine Mabel as the third man?
What a flop that would have been.
Literally, it would have been a big old belly Mabel flop.
It would have sucked.
Davey Boy Smith was rumored. Bret Hart was rumored, which that could have been something.
Got your
96 Bret Hart.
3X WWE guys, yeah.
There was even talk of Sting as the third man.
Turning on his own team.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
we'll get more into that when we cover the main event, but I wanted to landscape this event. And this was around the time that WCW, they were gaining traction. They were starting to beat WWF in the ratings, the Monday Night Wars, due to the hot angle of the Outsiders. But it only picks up from here. Commentary team was interesting. You had the trio of Tony Schiavone, Bobby Heenan, and Dusty Rhodes. Can you imagine a car ride with the three of them?
Oh my god.
But remember the ride along show that they used to have on the WWE network?
Yeah.
Can you imagine an episode of Ride Along with those
That would
three?
be fantastic.
Oh man, that is crazy. First match, we want to talk about bangers. They kicked off this event with Rey Mysterio versus Psychosis. And for those that don't know about Psychosis, Psychosis is up there with Rey Mysterio in the peak of their powers in terms of
Yeah.
in-ring. It's what a match. This is the cruiserweight division, a perfect example of how great it was during this era. Rey Mysterio. You know what I didn't like about Rey Mysterio in WCW?
What?
His music.
Really?
Yeah, the dun dun like
I
that.
liked it.
It made him like very like a, I don't know. It should have been more of like an underdog theme. Like I don't know. It was like too. I can't think of the word, but it was like too like menacing. And
I was thinking when I watched this match, if this was the Rey Mysterio that I grew up on, I would have been a fan of him. But instead, I just hate his WWE work.
because they make him cartoonish.
I've just never really been a fan.
Number one, just the Rey Mysterio does a flip over the top rope. It hits his knee right on the guardrail.
Yeah.
Crazy. They went all out during this match. Psychosis to me is one of the most underrated cruiserweights ever.
That's fair.
He definitely, anytime he was in a match with anyone, it was a great match. Like Malenko, Jericho, like, and this is all a who's who that was in that division at the time. Benoit, Eddie. The amount of talent WCW had in the undercard was unbelievable. And we'll go through the card, talk about some other wrestlers, but Rey Mysterio picks up the win with the top rope Hurricanrana. That was just the height, the elevation, just unbelievable.
Bonkers.
Way to kick off a pay-per-view, especially something that's so heavily hyped, and you start off with a banger.
Yeah.
Kudos to them. Charlie, your thoughts?
No, like I said, if this was the Rey Mysterio that I grew up on, I would be a huge mark for him. But instead, I get the WWE one. The spots were fantastic. It was a great opener.
This will be a little sidebar, but we haven't recorded since the Dom heel turn.
Yes.
It finally happened.
It happened too late.
Yes. We'll talk more about that on the Weekly Verdict, our other show, when we record on Saturday. And that show will be out on Saturday, whatever that date is, in September. This upcoming Saturday.
Yep.
Which would be, hold on.
24th.
24th. There we go. On the 24th. And then we went from a good match to what the F match.
This was definitely not on the good side of the card.
This was clearly a favor to Hogan to get these two men on this pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Like, this wasn't Big Boss Man in Earthquake, which, this would have been great with those two characters. And it's amazing how, like, a character can make someone.
Yeah.
Big Bubba Rogers with Jimmy Hart versus John Tenta. So John Tenta, the former Earthquake, Big Bubba Rogers, the former Big Boss Man. On paper, you think this would be great. The storyline was terrible. I don't understand the pole taking it down, then hitting someone.
Full quarters.
What was this supposed to be, like a prison yard match, like deal? It was a sock full of quarters. Both of these guys in WCW had like 4 or 5 different gimmicks before.
Really?
Yeah. So when Big Bubba Rogers, when Boss Man came to WCW, his name was the Boss. So WWE right away sent a cease and desist, said it's too similar to our, copyright and image and likeness. Can't be the Boss. So WCW was like, all right. Then remember, in New York City, have you ever heard of the group the Guardian Angels?
Yeah.
He was the Guardian Angel. Like, he literally dressed up as the Guardian Angel with the red t-shirt and the little cap, and also horrible. Then he went to Big Bubba Rogers. And then in one of the worst promos in wrestling history, I'd love to play it, but I don't want to deal with another edit and copyright strike. He has when he gets beat on by the NWO months later after this show, he comes out and he goes, "I'm tired of this shit. My name is Ray Trailer. My name is Ray Trailer." And then becomes Ray Trailer. Suffers an injury. And that was about it. So that's like the WCW run for him. Of course, he reappears in WWE, and he was the Shield before the Shield. John Tenta, they tried to make him, I think he was the Avalanche in WCW.
And how was that not too similar to his?
Yeah, so they had to change that too.
Oh, okay.
He was the shark. Then he was the shark. He had a little shark tail thing on his head.
Geez.
And then he became John Tenta. That's all we have to say about this.
You can't even talk about the match itself.
The match was horrible.
Yeah.
It was horrible. It was clearly, hey, let's get these guys some money. Hogan's like, hey, I'm calling the shots here. You want me to be the third man? Get my buddies on this show because they need a payday here. And
Really?
That's what happened.
Clearly, that's what needed to happen.
Can I tell you something?
What's
brother?
up?
How good was Gene Okerlund?
Oh my God, he was really great backstage.
All these backstage, I enjoyed every single one on this show.
Yeah.
The whole cliched, I'm gonna find out who the third man is. Like all that was great.
Yeah.
But even like the backstage promos, the one with like Sting, Luger, and Savage, like his facial expressions and oh man, it was crazy. Randy Savage had a terrible promo. It was so bad. He was like, "Oh yeah, and when we find out who the third man, it doesn't matter who the third man is." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" They were like all talking in circles, but Gene was great. Like Gene was awesome. It's funny because I think Sting probably had the best promo out of all of them during this whole backstage segment. Clearly, the next match, a taped fist match. I don't know why we have all these gimmick matches on the show.
What was the point here? I missed it.
They were going through like a feud for a while, and they were knocking each other out. So this was like the payoff match to it. Clearly, they were for about a year and a half, 2 years. They were really pushing DDP, and he just wasn't getting over. And at this point, he's still not over. And the dirt sheets will all allude to his push being friends with Eric Bischoff, which, hey, it may or may not happen. May have been the case, but eventually DDP does get himself over in a huge way later in the year. And it really, DDP finding the diamond cutter helped his career. Like that move helped him. Hogan and Hacksaw, big time friends. No shock that he's also on this pay-per-view. So as we go along this pay-per-view, I'm just going to point out all of Hogan's friends on this pay-per-view, and who wasn't on this pay-per-view.
Okay.
DDP wins. I guess it was okay because I think a lot of people were like the casual viewers were watching. They probably wanted to see the old WWF guys. So getting Hacksaw is probably not too bad because at least he's Hacksaw and he's not Big Bubba Rogers or John Tenta. But this match, I mean, I could skip over. Charlie, your thoughts?
No, it was nothing special.
Bum, bum, bum,
what was the point of the taped hands match? What was the gimmick in it?
It's just the Hacksaw had this thing where he went overseas to find his lineage, and apparently he was like he comes from a family of closed fist fighters.
Okay.
Yeah. So nothing like this. It is what it is. This was a filler match on the card. You had a backstage segment with the Giant and Kevin Sullivan. Kevin Sullivan. You could tell he's from Boston, huh? With that accent.
Definitely.
It was a shock that the Giant was I forgot he was WCW champion so early in his career. Like, and he had that crazy hair.
Yeah.
4-man dog collar match. Public Enemy versus the Nasty Boys. Take it away, Charlie.
I thought this was a fun match. I thought the bumps were solid, aside from the table not breaking. I had fun watching this match. I didn't invest too much in it because I said, oh, well, there's the Nasty Boys and there's Public Enemy. Let's just watch them beat the crap out of each other.
You know, Public Enemy, they had a very weird career. Like, in ECW, they were the top ECW tag team. And their whole gimmick was obviously putting people through tables.
Mm-hmm.
They leave. And then we see the Dudleys basically take over that gimmick. And we see where the Dudleys are at. And no offense, we see what happened in Public Enemy. They're clearly a tag team that you don't think about enough because they were a one-trick pony with these style matches. And they couldn't cut promos. So kudos to Paul Heyman because he really made these guys get paid in WCW. WCW didn't know what to do with them. They did all these gimmick matches with them. As we watch other pay-per-views, you'll notice like every single Public Enemy match was like a gimmick match with weapons and tables. People want to say the Nasty Boys theme song was terrible. I love it.
I had an earworm with it after I heard it.
I love that they sang it so horribly because it's so freaking catchy and it's so corny.
Yeah.
We're the Nasty Boys. The Nasty Boys. Like, come on. And I'm going to point out who's best friends with Hulk Hogan? Brian
Knobs, yeah.
On this pay-per-view. So again, we got Hogan's friends on the pay-per-view. Nasty Boys win the match. I liked it. It was okay. It's like, I don't know.
It was a fun match. Come on.
It was fun. It was fun. I just think about what could have been. And apparently, Rocco Rock and Johnny Grunge were literally Public Enemy. They had a brief cup of coffee after their WCW run in WWF.
Yeah, I remember.
And they got the crap kicked out of them by the APA.
Yes. Okay.
Simmons and Bradshaw. Literally, they worked them. Real worked them.
I think I read a Bradshaw excerpt on why they beat the living shit out of them so hard. And
yeah, it was the attitude. It was the way that they worked some of their house show matches leading up. I don't like to speak ill about the dead because both of them are not here with us anymore.
Oh, okay.
But it's crazy. It's crazy.
When did they pass?
Oh, decades ago, I think, at this point. I think Johnny Grunge was 2005 or so, and I think Rocco Rock was before that.
Oh, okay.
We can look it up. Let's see. The Public Enemy. For those at home, if you want to see the best version of the Public Enemy, go on Peacock, search ECW, and find 1994 ECW Public Enemy. That's peak Public Enemy. Rocco Rock in 2002.
Okay.
Johnny Grunge in 2006.
Okay.
So both way too young. I think they both had some demons.
Probably.
No. It'd be good if my screen loads to the next page. Technical issues, folks. Technical issues. Oh, God.
What?
I love to do this in order and not, like, miss a match.
Yeah.
My browser decided to, like, restart. Oh. This was a good match. Dean Malenko and Disco Inferno. This was a good match.
Disco Inferno was horrible.
I thought it was a good technical match.
Okay.
He wasn't horrible. Disco Inferno had some great working punches. You don't think so? You don't think Disco had great working punches?
If that was my match to be like, here's Disco Inferno, he failed.
I think it's the gimmick. I don't think you like the gimmick.
Maybe. I can see why he's so hated backstage.
Dean Malenko. Dean Malenko, 1996, 1997.
Carried him.
Dean Malenko, 1996 and 1997 is arguably the greatest wrestler of all time.
That's fair.
I mean, could you imagine a match? Just forget storylines. Let's just say we wanted to see a match. And it was 96-97 Dean Malenko versus 96-97 Bret Hart.
Yeah.
That would have been crazy. Crazy. This is for the Cruiserweight title. Malenko with the victory. So you didn't like Disco Inferno at all, huh?
No.
What'd you think about Malenko?
He's a technical genius. He carried Disco Inferno that whole match. Don't tell me I punches, please.
I have a soft spot for Disco Inferno.
Clearly. Oddly.
You want to talk about something that was probably terrible? One of the worst matches of all time?
What's that?
The next match.
Yeah.
Now, it's bad enough that they booked Joe Gomez, but then you book him with Steven.
Oh, yeah. This match was god-awful.
And from the side view, they literally look like the same person.
Yeah.
Except one's a little bit tanner.
Commentary must have had a rough night in this one.
There was some missed spots. Clearly, Mongo was not ready for prime time during this match.
No.
But why would you book him against Joe Gomez? You have Eddie Guerrero on your roster. You have Regal. You have guys like sitting. Pillman. No, Pillman wasn't there. Pillman left. But you had plenty of guys on this roster that you could have had a match with Mongo.
Yeah.
And you pick Joe Gomez. Who did Joe Gomez give a sexual favor to get on this show?
Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan. I don't think so. I don't think there was any connection, but crazy. Crazy. And this is the best backstage segment of all time. I'm going to talk about this backstage interview. It's weird because both ladies are not with us anymore.
No.
But Ric Flair with Woman and
Was
Miss
a hell of a
Elizabeth
promo.
with Okerlund, phenomenal.
Was a hell of a promo.
Woman just coming on to Gene the whole promo and like Gene playing off of it and like being uncomfortable, but then like giving into it, but then pulling back. was artistry. It was pure artistry.
What did Flair say? If she comes on to you one more time, you'll be across the street with us at the hotel.
Yeah. Yeah. In the pool, sipping champagne.
Yeah.
This, to me, I don't know, hot take, this was like the highlight of the show. It really was.
A good promo. It was a good promo.
Wow.
Highlight of the show can't be taken away from the formation of the
no, but this is definitely up there for runner up. It was so good. At the very least, if you watch like a few things, or you're the type of person that skips over the backstage stuff, do not skip over that.
Yeah.
It was so good. So good. So Conan and Flare, this was whack Conan. This was not the Conan that I liked. Okay. I liked Street Thug Conan with the odele, that guy. This guy was just vanilla. Great wrestler, but vanilla.
Yeah.
A lot of interference in this match, a lot of shenanigans. This could have been a better match. I think both of them, if they would have given each other enough like technical stuff, it probably would have been a better match, but it was fine enough to get to where they needed to with Flair winning the U.S. title. And at this time, it was a really weird time for Flair. They made him cut his hair. He had that weird haircut.
Yeah, mushroom haircut.
He was losing his confidence. But, man, the one thing that didn't go away was the freaking promos.
No.
Oh, unbelievable.
There's a step there.
Anything else you want to say about the match, the promo?
No. We covered it.
Flair being with both females was just
perfect.
It was perfect. It was perfect. The Giant and Kevin Sullivan with Jimmy Hart versus Benoit and Art Anderson.
This was a stinker.
And you would figure with Benoit and Anderson, they'd be able to carry anyone. But no, not 1996 Giant and Kevin Sullivan.
Nope.
Jimmy Hart was past his expiration date, I think, as a manager in 1996. The whole shtick.
They booked him all night.
Yeah. and who's his buddy?
Yep, Hulk Hogan.
Who does he manage in real life?
Hulk Hogan.
I mean, if you're friends with Hogan during this time period, you were getting paychecks. So, and it's bad enough the Giant has the freaking WCW title on him.
Yeah.
People will say, well, Goldberg wasn't ready to win the title, but at least Goldberg was like super over in his matches. Like they knew how to book a Goldberg match.
Yeah.
The Giant, they had no idea what to do. The fact that the Giant was throwing drop kicks, yes, it was amazing, but unnecessary to do. He should have just been menacing monster. He chokeslams people. That's it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Then they make him talk. I don't know. It was just bad booking. Bad booking by bad creative.
He had a mouthpiece and they made him talk. That doesn't make sense.
Benoit Anderson, I'll take you out. Oh, okay.
Okay, guy.
And it was weird because all four participants in that match are heels. It was It was heel tag teams versus each other. And I don't think I want to go down the rabbit hole, but Kevin Sullivan and Chris Benoit, I don't think they were necessarily getting along at this time either.
No,
Well, you don't remember.
I wasn't a WCW guy.
So Nancy Benoit, in real life, was married to Kevin Sullivan.
Oh, okay.
She has an affair with Chris Benoit.
Got it.
And Kevin Sullivan was the booker for WCW as well.
Geez.
So this all comes to a head here.
Good
And obviously,
call.
we know the unfortunate demise in real life of Nancy and Chris, and that story. I don't think we need to go down there. But for me, like, I couldn't even watch the match because of Kevin Sullivan and Benoit being participants in the match. Like, I can't watch their match at Hog Wild, the pay-per-view after this, because of the whole scenario. It just, to me, just can't do it. All right, let's get to the main event. How do you think they presented this throughout the night?
They did a good job on the build-up.
What
was weird was seeing Hall and Nash come out to something other than their own theme songs or NWO.
Yeah,
that was really weird.
Yep, I like the part where Buffer didn't say their names during the entrance.
Yeah.
The announcers were like, "Where's the third guy? There's only two." Gene comes to the ring, asks them where the third guy is, and he said he's ready. So now the speculation is, oh, maybe the three guys on Team WCW, one of them are going to turn. Mm-hmm. So now you have that storyline and that angle. I thought this was well done. You have Sting, Luger, and Savage versus Hall, Nash, and Mystery. The match is what it is. They did a great job of building Hall and Nash as dominant in this match. They basically were able to take out Luger very early in this match. It's Sting. Basically, it was Savage versus them. Hogan comes down to the ring, and then Bobby Heenan's like, whose side is he on? And basically, right there, kind of ruined it. He kind of ruined it. Hogan.
Why do you say that?
Well, Hogan was always Team WCW, so it should never have been whose side is he on. It should have been like, oh, he's here to save us.
Yeah.
So that if he would have said something like that, I think the moment would have been even huger than it was, because there was a dead giveaway as soon as he said, whose side is he on? Oh, here's the turn. And let me tell you, this is the best heel turn of all time. They'd set this up perfect.
Yeah.
He, number one, littered with garbage in the ring. Fans throwing stuff. He tells the fans to stick it. And the show MVP, the whole show, the MVP of the entire show is Mean Gene Okerlund.
Yeah.
Because we remember Mean Gene Okerlund and Hulk Hogan always having a great relationship. And when Gene goes to the ring to interview Hogan, and Hogan tells him to beat it and everything, it solidifies that heel turn. It really does. It was such a little thing that they did, but it went. It basically knocked a grand slam out of the park for them.
Yeah.
What did you think about the whole storyline, the Hogan promo. Just give me your thoughts.
I thought that Lex getting knocked out of the match was unnecessary, but it happened. The match itself,
it is what it is.
It is what it is. They showed how dominant Hall and Nash were. Yeah. The presentation and heel turn of Hogan was the standout of this match, obviously.
I'm going to read the promo.
Okay.
The interview after the match.
Yeah.
Mean Gene gets into the ring. He says, Hulk Hogan, excuse me. What in the world are you thinking? Mean Gene, the first thing you need to do is tell these people to shut up if you want to hear what I got to say. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Right off the bat, boom. And then Okerlund selling it. I have been with you for so many years. For you to join up with these two men absolutely makes me sick. So now you're like, oh, Mean Gene's disappointed in Hogan. I'm disappointed in Hogan. And I think that these people here and a lot of people around the world have had just about enough of these men here. Points at Nash, and this man points at Hall. And you want to put yourself with this group? You've got to be kidding. Hogan says, first thing you got to realize, brother, is this right here is the future of wrestling. You can call this the New World Order of Wrestling, brother. And they had no idea that they were going to name the group the New World Order.
They were going with organization for, yeah.
Until that promo, and he said the New World Order, and it just clicked. These two men here came from a great big organization up north, alluding to WWF. Yeah. Everybody was wondering who the third man was. Well, who knows more about that organization than me, brother? Okerlund, I've been there, I've done that, and you made the wrong decision, in my opinion. So now they're setting up that it's the old WWF guys invading WCW.
Yeah.
This couldn't have worked with Sting. I'm going to continue with the promo. No. Well, let me tell you something. I made that organization a monster. I made the people rich up there. And when it came to pass, the name Hulk Hogan, the man Hulk Hogan, got bigger than the whole organization, brother. And then billionaire Ted, amigo, he wanted to talk turkey with Hogan. Well, billionaire Ted promised me movies, brother. Billionaire Ted promised me millions of dollars, and billionaire Ted promised me world caliber matches. As far as billionaire Ted goes, Eric Bischoff and the whole WCW goes, I'm bored, brother. That's why these two guys here, the so-called outsiders, these are the men I want as my friends. They're the new blood of professional wrestling, brother, and we're going to take over the whole wrestling business.
Bravo.
and then Okerlund ad-libs the whole, look at this crap in this ring. That's what's in the future for you. If you want to hang around this man Hall and this man Nash. And Hogan just goes even further. He goes, as far as I'm concerned, all this crap in the ring represents these fans out there. And then he just unloads. It literally, in one promo, went from babyface Hogan to hated scorched earth Hogan. Well done. And it's Shivani to close the show. The greatest line ever.
Yes.
Greatest line ever. I'm Tony Schiavone. Hulk Hogan, you can go to hell. We're out of here. Straight to hell.
Yep.
So it goes to show you don't need flippity-floppity matches all night to deliver something that fans talk about for ages. Fortunately or unfortunately, no one's talking about Psychosis and Rey Mysterio from this event. The only thing they're talking about is this heel turn and the storyline.
Yep.
The reason why we do this show is to point out some of the other things on the show that made the show great. I'm going to be honest with you. As much of a home run as Hogan hit, the MVP for this entire show is Mean Gene Okerlund. Undisputed MVP. Crowning achievement in his career was this pay-per-view.
Wow.
Yeah. Think about it. If anyone else was in the ring with Hogan doing that promo at the end,
Oh, no, absolutely.
it wouldn't have landed.
Absolutely.
It's a lot to think about. And I don't think it's talked about enough because I've watched a million different reviews of this pay-per-view, and they failed to mention how great Gene was. It's not even just the Hogan. It was the Flair segment. It was all the segments throughout the entire night.
Yeah. Leading to that.
If you haven't subscribed to the show, hit the subscribe button. Helps us out.
Comment.
We'll have another poll up. We have Halloween Havoc 1993 to record as well. That will be out in a couple weeks. We're going to keep on the journey of WCW. Charlie.
Yes.
What wrestler from WCW do you want to focus on?
Ooh.
Because we have the Vader 1993 Halloween Havoc centric show recording. So now I'll let you. That was my pick, pretty much. So now it's your pick.
You know what? I actually sadly want to see more Mysterio from WCW.
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll put a poll up with some of the peak Mysterio pay-per-view performances. Obviously, we cannot do this one again. This is up there. But
Okay.
we'll find some other ones. I believe Halloween Havoc 97 will be on the docket, that's for sure. With Eddie and Mysterio.
Yeah, I've seen that. Well, I've obviously seen that match, but
yeah, that'll be on the docket. Or not on the docket if you've watched it. We could ixnay it.
I've seen that match.
Okay. I'll find 4 choices for Mysterio matches on a pay-per-view that we can watch back. Or maybe, this could be a crazy thought. What about a Nitro with a Mysterio match?
As long as it's easy to access on the network, I'm fine.
Yeah, they have all the Nitros.
Okay.
So I'm gonna put at least I'll put 1 Nitro and 3 pay-per-views. We'll see what wins. Anything you want to say to the audience, Charlie?
Like, share, subscribe, comment. It all helps us out. And it's all free.
Yep. And Halloween Havoc 1993, we'll have a special guest. We'll have Frank with us, spitting some knowledge as well. I told him the reason why we're doing it is for Vader. I'm a big Vader fan, and he was on board. He's also a big Vader fan. Like, share, comment, subscribe. This is all. Thank you so much. Good night. Good luck. We'll see you when we see you.